the needs and demands of the American economy, you're looking at $12.8 trillion. Now, I projected 6 months ago in this program that that figure would be between 12 and 13 trillion, and at that time they were talking, mind you, they were talking at 600 billion, and then what's what trillion? Then it was $1.5 trillion. Then none of them have caught up to me. Now, where are we going to be by September, the end of the fiscal? We're probably going to be somewhere between 15 and 20. And where are we going to be next year? 20 to 30. Now, I asked Mr. Fitke, how in God's name can we not have hyperinflation, even though that we have the depreciation of assets that continues to go on? Even if we did not have inflation, someone has got to tell me where else you can go to save your assets, to hold the wealth that you have, or maybe even make some money. There is no place else. It's as simple as that. So, if I'm dead wrong and there's no inflation, eventually we're going to have deflation. And historically, during deflation, people have got rid of their currencies and they've bought gold. It is a lock, L-O-C-K. I started using this term in this program. We were around $300 an ounce or something like that. A lock in the betting community, like Las Vegas and New Jersey and places like that. A lock is you can't lose. You got to go in both ways. The bet of the year, the bet of the century, whatever. And that's what you've got, ladies and gentlemen. And incidentally, I don't get paid to do this. Go ahead, Melanie. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. I just got drilling results in for Capella. And some of you will know what Capella is. They are extraordinary. Extraordinary. And they will be in the SADD issue. Okay, go ahead, hon.
All righty. What do you think of the Chinese announcing the yuan currency swap deal with Argentina just before the G20 meeting?
Well, first of all, they're outflanking the U.S. politically and financially. And what they're saying is, we're not going to deal in dollars anymore. We're going to slowly get rid of the ones we've got. And we're going to exchange with each country their currency and ours. So the deal was made with Argentina and China. And it's a swap line. Argentina says, I need, we'll do it in equivalents. I need $10 billion equivalent yuan. And so they lend it to them. And then they work their trade backwards so that the payment for the trade is in yuan. So the Japanese don't get any dollars. And they're making these agreements. This is not the first one. They've got 4 or 5 others they've already done with countries that are poor. And sometimes on these swap agreements, the collateralization will be access to mining properties and things like that. And or they will build a railroad. In Africa, they did that one for one country. They're building a railroad, and the cost will be amortized. And for doing that, at very little or no interest, using dollars, of course, getting rid of them, they will get the rights to mine gold or whatever it is on some property there. And so the Chinese are not stupid people. I don't think they're as smart as the Russians are, but they're certainly not dumb. And this is the opening salvo in a currency war. That's what this is.
How much will the money supply increase over the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years here in the U.S.?
Well, I just wrote a piece not 10 minutes before we started, And I'm going to read it to you.
Let me just add this, Bob. She says there's an article that was circulating over the last couple of weeks saying that the money supply would grow 15 times.
Yeah, I saw that, and I don't know about that, but let me get it here. Hold on a second. I got some extraordinary figures here in this Saturday issue coming up. And lo and behold, I don't have it, but here it is here. No, it's not here. I don't have it in front of me. Anyway, MZM, which is M2 by the St. Louis Fed, they're talking in terms of 17%. So I think it's fair to assume that what used to be M3 will increase by 15 to 50% over the next 3 years. I can't go further than that. And I think that's pretty good. And as you all know, I've been right on drilling these numbers phenomenally. And don't ask me how it happens. It happens. I must have help from a higher power or something, because nobody's that smart. But anyway, that's what I see. And of course, that doesn't count the money that's made out of thin air by the Fed. I mean, that's just the creation of money and credit, injection into the system. I mean, if they're going to lend $1 trillion to the Treasury, that's not included. And incidentally, that $300 billion that they said that they're going to purchase Treasury paper with, which they made out of thin air, it'll be gone in another couple of weeks. And then they'll announce another 300 and another 300. It'll go over $5 trillion. And you can take that to the bank. And it's not going to solve the problem. In very simple terms, they are attacking the result of what happened between 2003 and today. They are not attacking the underlying problem. And the reason they're doing that is twofold. Number one, they want their insider, illuminous banks, insurance companies, brokerage firms to survive. So they're loading them up with money. And they are not addressing the underlying economy and have no intention of doing that, because point number two is they want the whole thing to collapse except for their entities, and they want to implement a world currency and a world government, and that's what they're after. And everybody is learning about this. And you see all those people in Trafalgar Square this morning and on Threadneedle Street. Now, I couldn't tell how many they were, but they were over 10,000, I'll tell you that. And they're all saying, do away with money. It doesn't mean anything. We're tired of being screwed. And they are not going to accept a world currency because of programs like this. This program is going all over the world. And there's lots of people listening. And the biggest group that's listening is between 20 and 40 years old, surprisingly. And I was approached the other day by someone who's writing a book about this to help them, and I did as much as I could and will in the future for them, because I don't have time to write books. And I put them on to Ed Griffith, who's a good friend of mine, and Jerome Corsi as well, to help this guy, to show that these young people understand, they know what's going on. A good part of the older people do too. The group in between, which is 40 to 65 years old, they get an inkling. And we're talking about worldwide now. We've got to bridge that gap. We've got to let everybody know that these privately owned central banks are nothing but a bunch of crooks that have a license to steal. And it's got to be stopped. We've got to take our future back, the future of our children and grandchildren, from these scumbags, and that's exactly what they are. They may have $3,000 or $4,000 suits that they're running around in, but they're still plain vanilla crooks.
You know, I saw a graph on GM's losses for the past couple of years, Bob, and when I saw it, I was a little confused because it showed that the 2007 GM had their greatest losses even compared to last year.
It's incredible, and the coup de grace was committed the other day by the President of the United States.
Uh-huh.
And I don't use his name because I don't know what his name really is, because he's had several names. And what he did was say, look, we're letting it go under. We're going to take the good pieces and have another GM, and all the rest of the stuff, well, the taxpayers can pay for.
Yeah.